I mean,
I have one, but then it was turned off whenever it wants.
All right, how's the exams coming? How are you studying?
Just re-listening to all the lectures and like retaking notes. for
Good
the-
times. Good times. Don't get much better than that. Okay.
PowerPoints.
Averages so far?
I can figure them out.
Okay.
We can figure them
I
out.
just need the practical average, just to
Okay.
make sure that I'm.
All right. Let's do this. Let's go over just what's going to be on the test coming up. And then if you want to go over your averages, we can. We can do that. What do you hairdo? You look different. And I don't even remember now what your old hairdo looked like.
I didn't have bangs.
That's it. That's the story.
My first
Yeah, I
time
would've
having
been
bangs
able
in
to
my
tell.
adult life.
Okay. That's all
I
right.
don't know how people walk around with them in their eyes.
All right. So for this upcoming test, I want you to think about the highlights.
Wow.
You know, the things that we emphasize during the course of the year. All right, so we started with what? Did we start with the heart? Okay, so know your cardiac anatomy. So if I say what valve sits between the left atrium and left ventricle, what would that be?
Mitral.
Mitral valve.
Ooh, get him.
If
So
I
it shows
ask,
a higher average thing.
if I asked you how to calculate cardiac output or mean blood pressure, hopefully you know the formula that cardiac output is heart rate times stroke volume. And mean blood pressure is diastolic plus a third of your pulse pressure. You know, basic concepts like blood pressure flows from an area of higher pressure. Blood flows from an area to lower pressure, right. Know your blood vessels, particularly for the practical. If I had to say the practical is going to be heavy on anything, it's going to be your blood vessels.
Yes.
So if I put superficial femoral artery, you don't put femoral artery.
Looking for me for them.
No, it wasn't. I just throwing it out there. A lot of people make that mistake. What vessels provide pulses? What are your pedal pulses? Can you tell me that? Know your cerebral circulation. You know what blood vessel provides blood flow to your primary motor cortex? What's that? No, not your vertebral.
Your anterior cerebrals?
No.
Communicating?
Well, middle cerebral artery supplies most of your primary motor cortex.
Okay.
The anterior cerebral provides a little piece of it along the medial aspect. But the best answer would be middle cerebral artery. Remember, the internal carotid bifurcates into anterior middle, and the posterior cerebral comes from the vertebral basilar circulation. Know your phases of the cardiac cycle. There are two phases, you know, when all four valves are closed.
This is late diastole?
Well, it's early systole and early diastole. It's isovolumetric contraction and isovolumetric relaxation. Know what causes your first and second heart sounds.
S1 and S2?
S1 is triggered by closure of your AV valves. S2 is triggered by closure of your semilunar valves. Of course, know your layers of the heart, know the difference between the visceral and the parietal pericardium. Know the difference between the SA node and the AV node. What innervates? What type of receptors are present on the SA node and AV node? Oh, but that's something good to know. You have your muscarinic receptors and your beta 1 adrenergic receptors. You also, but you said something very important, know all about your baroreceptor reflexes. And then also know your renin-angiotensin pathway.
I was hoping you wouldn't say that.
Yeah. Well, it's almost a freebie now.
Yeah, it's easy
It's
now.
easy now. With respect to hematology, blood, particularly know how red blood cells are formed, what 3 ingredients you need, and know about red blood cell catabolism. Okay, which means also you have to know about bilirubin, between indirect and direct. How bilirubin is handled by the body. It means you have to know all about your different types of white blood cells. So if I ask what type of white blood cells are elevated in the setting of allergic reactions, you'd say, oh, eosinophils, yeah. What type is elevated in the face of viral infections? Yes, lymphocytes. Lymphocytosis. Know what a left shift is. Know the difference between a band and a reticulocyte. These are all good questions. And of course, on the practical, there's likely to be 1 or 2 different white blood cells you have to recognize. What do we call a nucleated red blood cell that appears sometimes in the purple blood? What do you call it? Normoblast, yeah. Know about your different types of anemia. Some anemias are due to decreased production. Some anemias are due to increased destruction. And some anemias are due to blood loss. And then be familiar with the concept of retic counts. So if you had a hemolytic anemia, would your retic count be high, low, or normal? It'd be high. If you had acute blood loss, would your retic count be high, low, or normal? Normal. Normal. Now, it takes a while to get retics going. If you had an anemia due to deficiency of iron, B12, or folate, would your retic count be high, low, or normal? Low. So yeah, the red blood cells are fine. And I think we covered respiratory after that. And so what do you need to know about respiratory? Know your basic anatomy of the respiratory tract. And then you'll know your respiratory reflexes with your chemoreceptors. Now, your chemoreceptors, they're called carotid bodies and aortic bodies. They sit right next to your baroreceptors. And they sense 3 things. They sense a decrease in pH, a decrease in O2, or an increase in CO2. And remember, you have both peripheral chemoreceptors and centrals. People forget about those centrals. And of course, understand how CO2 and oxygen are carried within the blood. Know your basic processes. Know what ventilation is. Hypercapnia, hypocapnia. And of course, ABGBs, acid-base disturbances. I'm sure we'll have something on that. For lymphatics. We'll probably have perhaps a couple of lymphatic organs or structures on the prakinole. So they're different displaying your lymph node. The thymus. What's different about the thymus than the other lymphatic organs? It's only T's. And we got T cells. It's like a stool for T cells. B cells not allowed. Okay. Know about the anamnestic response.
The what response?
Anamnestic. Anamnestic. Okay. Know that, for instance, lymph nodes filter the lymph, spleen filters the blood. Know your basic lymphatic vessels, where they drain, which would be the right and left subclavian veins. Know everything you can know about edema. You know, when we leave A&P2, I think everybody knows everything they need to know about edema, and you'll take pathophysiology and y'all don't know about anything about edema. It's a sad situation. So know your 4 mechanisms for edema. So if I say, okay, someone who's got a diabetic nephropathy has edema, what's the mechanism? You can say, well, that would be decreased diastolic pressure. Okay. Of course, what do we call, what's another name for the left lymphatic duct? Thoracic duct, that's right. Thoracic duct. Remember where it is on red thread. What do we call that central cavity in red thread that sits between the 2 lungs? Mediastinum, yes. So some basic terminology, that's good. All right. Next, we covered the digestive system. All right. Remember, it's just a long tube that extends from your mouth to your anus. And there are accessory organs that feed into it. Know what enzymes each of the different regions produce. There's going to be endocrine and the exocrine pancreas. If I asked you what organ is the site of initial protein digestion, what would that be? Stomach. Yeah, what's the name of the enzyme? Do we know? Pepsinogen. Okay, what cells produce pepsinogen? Chief cells. Okay, but parietal cells say I. If I ask you to name 5 functions of the liver, be able to do so. Give me 3 real quick. 3 functions of the liver. Do it.
It's bile.
It produces bile, which is necessary for
Fat.
absorption of fat. We didn't talk about clotting, but it produces clotting factors. Okay. Some of which are vitamin K dependent. Which ones are vitamin K dependent?
3, 7, 9, 10.
2, 7 out of 10.
Oh, I always say 3.
2, 7 out of 10.
Close enough. 2, 7, 9, 10.
It is involved in glucose metabolism. It stores glycogen. And in fact, those cells that store glycogen have beta-1 receptors, so that when we activate the sympathetic nervous system, that glycogen is broken down and released into the bloodstream. The liver does so many good things. It detoxifies. It breaks down both endogenous and exogenous molecules. Let's say that way. It's involved in production of most of the circulating proteins. So if you develop cirrhosis, you develop decreased diastolic pressure. Because of that, it's involved in regulation of lipoproteins. You know, the lipids have to have a protein coating so that they can float around within the bloodstream. The liver just does so many good things. So many good things. Okay. I can't say enough good things about the liver. What do, within the pancreas, what do the alpha cells produce?
Insulin is beta.
Glucagon.
Beta cells, it's glucagon. Glucagon. Yes, that's the answer, glucagon.
It's right here, please.
Okay. Now, what you're gonna find is things are gonna start getting easier after the GI system. Because then we come up with the kids. Everybody loves the kids.
Yes.
We love the kids.
Yeah.
Alright, so know what the different segments of the renal tubule or the collecting ducts do. Where does the majority of reabsorption occur? PCT in the NYC.
Yeah.
Now, be able to differentiate what happens in the ascending versus descending limb of the loop. And that in the late DCT collecting duct, it's all about two hormones. Those two hormones are? Yes. Now again, when we talked about the kids, we talked about its buffering capacity, it's a buffer, and its involvement in acid-base disturbances. We talked about fluid and electrolyte disorders also. It seems like we've covered all that like in a blink of an eye. It doesn't seem like this message just kind of slam bam thing kind of comes on. Alright, Kat? Okay, are you awake? Are you
still
sleeping?
Just a little.
Okay, that's all right. And so it's been a long semester. Reminds me of the song, Kat. I think it's called Long December. Have you heard that song?
Yeah.
It kind of has that flow. You know, by the end of the semester, you're kind of tired. Right. There have been some highs for Kat. There's been some lows. But a lot of highs. A lot of highs. That first tie y'all had in soccer.